Hello everyone. We have a game with the black pieces on our speedrun against the Boogeyman, rated 928. He opens up with the ideal pawn center, staking claim on our side of the board. We try to fight back on our side, but we don't want to stay too passive. We don't want to be, relegated to just 3 rows. So we're going to strike back in the center, stake our claim, and also hit his part of the board. He says, you know what? I'm going to go even further into your territory. I'm going to push. This is part of, let's say, the Philidor, if you're interested in playing this type of opening. But now that he's pushing, he's very far into my territory, and this pawn can create discomfort. For example, you can't develop here. We're going to play c6 and immediately challenge this pawn. Now, whether he likes it or not, at some point in the game, these two pawns will disappear, meaning he'll only have one pawn in the center and I'll have two. That's the price he's paid for pushing so far. He just develops the knight. He ignores me, develops a piece, makes perfect sense. We just want to continue developing. Bishop e7, prepare castle, keep things stable, nothing crazy. You know, the center is now locked, the tension is right here. We don't want to take and allow him to put a piece here. We will only take if he has to put a pawn there and plug that hole. So he plays g3. I guess maybe he wants to fianchetto, I'm unsure. Or maybe he's preparing a future f4, also don't know. But it does weaken the light squares. A little bit of a weird move, if you ask me. It kind of invites this move, a bit odd. I'm just going to throw that in because this is a weird move to see. I'm not really used to it. So I'm going to take advantage of the light squares just with the developing move. So he does fianchetto, but he's staring into this pawn chain, which is also weird. So I'm not sure what that's about, but doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to castle. I want to just keep things very simple, straightforward. Now he castles, perfect sense. You could try to like put your knight here. That's a perfectly reasonable move. I'm just trying to consider that now that he did this, do I have any alternate, ideas? If I take here and he takes with the knight, then I take this pawn. He gives me a check, I take back, and then he takes this, but then I can take here so he doesn't have that discovery. If I take here, he's not going to take with the queen because the queen would hang. If he takes with the pawn, I can push e4, his knight's pinned. If he plays here, I could take the knight and he can't take the bishop because he would lose the second piece. So normally h3 would be a defensive resource, but because he fianchettoed, it's not a resource anymore because he would lose 2 pieces. So instead of developing normally, instead of going queen d7, which I was looking at to break down his kingside defenders, maybe taking, which you normally wouldn't do, because at the end he would end up with a knight or a queen here, which you don't want, but it might just lose on the spot. So the only other thing is if he takes here and I take here, what other moves does he have? What if there well, he can never desperado because his queen's hanging, so what am I saying? Yeah, let's just take it. I know I calculated before something like this and queen takes, but he can't do that. So he does take, but that undefends the center. And it doesn't come with threats, and my king is safe. That's why it's so important to castle. So I think this is hanging. I'm going to take it. free stuff. And now, okay, he takes us with check. We were forced to capture because it's a check. And now we have a gorgeous position. I mean, okay. I didn't look at this move. So he's unpinning his knight and threatening my knight. This is defended. So basically my knight's under attack. Where I don't want to move it if I don't have to. I would love to play f5 here, but it's pinned. Okay, so in that case, let's move it. We can move it here because it comes with tempo. Let's do that just so we get the turn back. You could move it to the side so you can eventually move the f-pawn, but you don't need to move the f-pawn. It just would have been a cool move in this specific turn because it defends the knight, but you're already winning. You have a strong center. And now white tries to be very clever, but he blunders immediately. So his idea is develop a piece, connect the rooks, pin the knight. If I take the queen, he's going to take my queen. However, my knight will then backwards see his bishop. So we take his queen, and then we get a piece out of it. And then he resigns. So that was a quick 13 move game. Let's go over it. There's lots of different openings people play. Caro-kann, Sicilian. I don't know. You can play whatever you want. But let's just say that some openings are harder than others for beginners to play, for beginners to understand. And I think some openings will improve you as a chess player faster than others. That's all I'll say. So, anyway, center, development. And when you see d6, and you might think, well, why is he doing this? Isn't this passive? Why doesn't he just go e5? It's a little more complicated. You always see me play e5, in the next couple moves. So it's as if I'm starting with e5, so you don't really have to worry about it. I am staking my claim in the center, even though I'm starting with d6. I'm just doing it. If you do e5 on move 1, white has a lot of different options with different gambits that he doesn't have if you start with d6. So it's just waiting 1 or 2 moves, but it's the same thing, because you'll see that after I develop this knight and this pawn, I just play e5 anyway. So it's just a move order thing. Okay, center, development. Attacking the center immediately, breaking this down. This is already good for black. Development, king safety. Development, king safety. And then I took the pawn. So let's say before I castle, same thing. I take the pawn. It's probably even, well, my king's exposed. I don't know, but maybe I had it a turn before. But either way, I take it now. And then I just win the pawn. This doesn't do anything, so it's just forced move. I had to move my knight, and then he just blunders again. So very quick game based on center and principles. And I just want to show you that as early as this move, right? I play c6, and black's already equal. Like, white's not going to have an advantage. Black never has to worry. His position is going to be good from here on out. Yeah, 92% accuracy, so this was obviously an easy game. Okay, cool. So what do they like? Castles. C takes D. A5. So this is fine. C takes D, raise fine. Yeah, it's all the same. Every move is the same. They'll give you like 6 moves, and the evaluation is all the exact same. I don't know why they give different like exclamations. That's weird. Yeah, and then C takes D. He takes, you take, and there's nothing blundered here. White's not as bluesing as I thought. So what does he have to do to stay in the game? So if he kicks my bishop and I retreat, how is this not amazing? Okay, he has to find knight d4. Fine. I could win a pawn here, but probably even not. I'd probably do something else. Maybe I get my f5 in, but then you lose the bishop. Yeah, black's just definitely practically better. It would be super hard to find the accurate moves for white here. Like, what is g4? Who's playing g4? g4. I guess normally you can't do that ever because of f4, but here I can't play f4. But even then, g4 is like, how is that good for white? How does that improve his position? That's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, super quick game, super easy. Go through your games. I've gotten feedback, happily so, from viewers saying that their elo has gone up in rapid if you just apply the principles, the questioning. I know it takes time. I know you have to play slower games. It may take 20-30 seconds to ask yourself about the threats and then look for all of them. The drawbacks, look for all of them. Center, development, king safety, and then calculate. It could take a long time for just one move, minutes. And that's why I recommend playing, 45-minute games or whatever, however long your attention span will last. But anyway, if you have any recommendations, maybe an opening you want to see, one that you play and would like to learn more about, recommend it. Serious inquiries only. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. Good luck in your chess.